What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and let's talk Doug McDermott's defense, because out of college, scouts weren't too concerned about his offense, but about his defense and how it would hold up at the next level. Scouts thought he was too small with only a 6'9" wingspan to guard interior players and too slow to guard perimeter players. And he had historically bad steal and block rates throughout all 4 years at Creighton, and that obviously concerned many scouts. All of those concerns still stand today, but he was drafted by the Bulls, who has a great defensive coach in Tom Thibodeau. So, I analyzed his defense in 2 preseason games, so let's get to it. First, let's talk about his off-ball defense. Here, when Brandon Jennings drives, McDermott must step up as that's his rotation. He doesn't, and Jennings gets an open layup. Not an easy proposition, but McDermott must come over to bump or get in the way of Andre Drummond to prevent an easy alley-oop, which he doesn't do here. On this Greg Monroe post-up, McDermott must step up and rotate weak side. He doesn't, but Taj Gibson bails him out by blocking the shot, but Monroe gets it back and gets an and one. Okay, so here, McDermott's teammate rotated low to stop the pass to the big man, so it's McDermott's assignment to cover almost zone between 2 shooters, Kyle Singler and Jody Meeks, but when the pass goes to Meeks, McDermott doesn't rotate and Meeks gets a wide open 3. Exact same sequence this time, Tony Snell drops low, so McDermott must be ready to close out to either Jody Meeks or Kyle Singler. He doesn't go to Meeks, and Meeks again is wide open. Notice here how he overplays Kyle Singler a bit too much and allows himself to be backdoored, but nice block by Gasol to bail him out. This isn't blatant, but here he does help one pass away off Damari Carroll, a decent shooter, giving up an open 3. But for the most part, I was glad to see McDermott not helping one pass away most of the time, and here's an example as he doesn't help one pass away and stays with his man, a shooter, and it was a weak side defender's fault for not rotating over to stop the layup. McDermott nicely executes a switch here, switching on to Korver, which stops him from getting an open shot. He has to give it up, and they eventually force a tough shot. But here he loses track and strays way too far from his man Thabo Cephalosha, giving him an open 3. And embarrassingly, on this play, he loses track of his man Damari Carroll for 1 second, and Carroll can cut in front of him and get a wide open layup. Here's an interesting play where McDermott is clearly guarding Caron Butler, a miss goes up, and the Pistons get a routine rebound, but McDermott loses track of Butler. He should easily be able to see he's to the right of him. He completely loses track, and Butler gets a wide open 3. Now let's talk about on-ball defense, and he wasn't put into many on-ball defense scenarios because he was mainly guarding Caron Butler, Kyle Singler, and Damari Carroll, who aren't exactly creators for their respective teams. Here, McDermott tries to perform ice, which is forcing the ball handler away from the screener on a screen and roll, but here he picks up a foul. Here he does perform ice correctly, forcing the ball handler away from the screener, and because of that, the Hawks are forced to reset. Then, because of a switch, he's isolated on, but it's Noah's fault for helping one pass away off a good shooter in John Jenkins, giving up an open 3. Notice how he pressures Carroll on a screen and roll and forces him to take a tough shot. Guarding Jenkins, he nicely does a good job of chasing him off the 3-point line, but then he gets blown by completely and Jenkins gets a floater look. Watch again how this time Carroll has no issue driving middle on McDermott. Off a screen and roll, McDermott executes an impressive switch here and forces Mike Scott into a very difficult jumper. So, on defense, some positives are he seems to understand the important defensive concept of not helping one pass away, and from what I saw, he seemed adept at switching. Now, he seemed to struggle on many defensive rotations, which is understandable as a rookie, but it's certainly not a great sign. And at times, he also seemed to lack great awareness or focus, which is obviously a concern. And even though he was not put into many on-ball defensive scenarios, once he goes up against better scorers, I've no doubt because of his athleticism, he'll probably struggle. And then there is the elephant in the room, his horrible steal and block rates, and they continued throughout the preseason. Through 5 games where he averaged an abundant 29 minutes per game, he had exactly 0 steals and 1 block. I see no reason to expect a change, so that's just something Chicago will have to live with. Well, there you have it, guys. Watching 2 preseason games of his and looking at his preseason steal and block rates, it was pretty much just a confirmation of what I already knew. We'll see about his offense, but because of his defense, I don't think this pick was simply a slam dunk, as I think there is serious risk. Well, thanks for watching and see you next time.